Hi, this is Lisa with Lawmax's Allegedly. Our story began with a woman by the name Michaela Rylaarsdam, a mother of three and a wife of several years who was running her own adult platform on the OnlyFans website as an escort under her pseudonym Ashley Sinkle. She was 29 years old at the time of this incident. How did a consenting one-night encounter with an escort turn into a 911 call? Let's get started. Please like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us to stay relevant and research more ways to use our freedom of speech for those victims that were lost or taken due to crime. Now back to this case. As an adult entertainer, Michaela would offer strip dancing and sexual favors, living in San Diego, California. Married to husband Brandon Rylaarsdam, who works as an insurance agent, was not only aware of his wife's double life, but was in some ways, for lack of a better word, a support to his wife, meeting with clients either online to dance for them or to have sexual encounters with these clients for money. This particular incident in question happened back in April of year 2023, where Michaela was supposedly contacted by a man named Michael Dale, 56 years of age. He met the OnlyFans model on her site where she was a content creator, he wanting to meet her for a personal encounter. For weeks, there were countless evidence of text messages from both Michaela and Michael, he expressing to her in text what he wanted her to do to him in some sort of BDSM bondage fetish. The list of things that he asked to use in their meeting was plastic wrap, rope, dildos, duct tape, gorilla glue or super glue, and some sort of restraints for his legs and wrists, and to buy a pair of boots that you will hear later in the indictment was what he wore with superglue or gorilla glue in his boots. They actually met up on April 17th of 2023, but then they kept communication going of text messages of what was to come on that faithful day of them meeting, again for this fetish encounter. In one of the text messages leading up to this encounter, the victim, Michael Dale, had offered Michaela for her services $11,000. So according to Michaela, despite her description on the OnlyFans site, stating that she had 10 years' experience in the adult entertainment world and in sexual activities, but she does admit not having any experience in this dark sexual fantasy lifestyle known as BDSM. Nevertheless, placing a plastic bag over someone's head and wrapping it to avoid air getting in is already the beginning of a problem. Michaela met Michael at his home in Escondido, California, where he shared with roommates. Again, this was said to have happened in April 2023. She arrives at his home, and it is said that he had been drinking vodka very heavily. Now, our understanding is that this is a home where allegedly other people are renting rooms inside this home. No one is allowed to have overnight guests at this home. So, here we are. Michael had been drinking heavy and had made plans to have this young lady over for some kinky session. Allegedly, she removed her clothes at some point during the session, and in her selfie video you can see that. Bear with me because he asked her to do some very odd things to him. But remember, this is a very dark world in this lifestyle. So he requested that she use the supplies that they spoke of in the text. He wanted her to superglue or gorilla glue a pair of black boots that he asked her to buy to his feet. He then asked to be bound at both wrists with a yellow rope, then to be wrapped up like a mummy in plastic from the waist down. According to records, it is said that he asked Michaela to put a pool of gorilla glue over each eye to close them up. According to records, there was music playing. Michaela was lip-syncing to music, dancing provocatively in the background. Last thing that he wanted was her to place a bag over his head, and allegedly she wrapped tape around the neck area to keep any oxygen escaping into the bag. All of this is happening while Michael is lying down on the floor with his plants pulled down to his knees. At some point, while her selfie video was still recording this session, and he began to feel uncomfortable, Michaela is still videoing herself in the frame with her subject. According to records of one of the roommates in the house, he says that it was outside of the room that he heard loud music coming from inside Michael's bedroom. One of the roommates, by the name of Andrew Smith, said that he could hear Michael behind the door asking for this to stop, and that he would give even more money to stop this. In the video, Michaela calls her husband about the session, and it appears that according to court records, her husband was pleased with the encounter, and then explaining to her husband that her client is begging to be released, but offers an even bigger payout if she would release him. According to coronary, Michael Dale had to be asphyxiated for about 8 minutes of time, unable to breathe with a plastic bag on his head. Him being intoxicated with a high alcohol level of a 4.0 on high blood pressure medication and a diabetic left very little promise of him surviving. Michaela began to notice that he was in distress. According to court documents, Michaela said that she took the plastic bag off of his head and started doing CPR. Like anyone, in a situation when someone is in a life or death situation and they are not breathing, Michaela started to panic and threw on some clothes and left the bedroom to look for help. She got help from his roommates to call the police. I would only imagine she would have had to explain to anyone that was in the house as to what they were walking into. Now let's go back to that list that I spoke of earlier. Remember, in that list of items was a dildo that Michael requested to use or bring to this sex session. Well, when the police arrived, they asked Michaela a few questions, but nothing prepared them for what they were about to see. From the court records, one of the officers walked in and said the man was on the floor, wearing red pants, wearing shiny black boots glued to his feet. And it was also said there was a dildo shoved into his mouth with glue covering his lips shut. According to the coronary, it was said that was the reason that his airway had been cut off, due to the dildo. His health history was high blood pressure and diabetes. I don't have any information on any meds that he may have been on, and because of his alcohol level being very high, and alcohol is a suppressant to the body, along with the plastic bag over his head, again, the records say it only took about 8 minutes for him to stop breathing. So by the time the police got there, and then, of course, the ambulance arrived, once they got him to the hospital, a person like myself who have worked most of my career in the emergency room, I'm pretty sure the ER staff have seen it all. We're talking about a man in his 50s being rolled in on a stretcher with evidence of plastic wrap from his waist down. His eyes are closed shut from Gorilla Glue. The boots that he wore were still glued to his feet as they rolled him into emergency room. Most times, ER staff will see a lot of situations come through, leave you to wonder like, what the hell? But we don't judge. The goal is to save a life. Unfortunately, for Michael Dale, that was not the case here. It took a couple of years for this case to be put together. And with respects to that, it includes talking to witnesses on both sides, pulling Michael Dale's health records, talking to the suspect or suspects, looking at body cam videos of that night in question, etc., etc. Michaela Rylaarsdam's case was presented to the court September 27, 2025. They are preparing for a case by getting a jury and so forth. Michaela is a mother of 3 with a husband, and she was not granted a bond. She will be in jail till this case begins. She is being held at Las Colinas Detention Facility in San Diego County. I have to admit with no judgment is that I can't see how she didn't think this through, especially for someone who has children at home. If your child were to say, "Hey mom, can you pour Gorilla Glue over my eyes and put a plastic bag over my head?" Would you do this? Probably not. And for obvious reasons, it's dangerous and child could end up in ER. An adult's life would be no different. I don't know. It looks like the $11,000 payout was the motivating factor in all of this. I don't even know if she got the money before the act or was she supposed to get it after the act was over. Well, if so, she's so screwed. No pun intended. Because now she is going to lose her freedom if they find her guilty, and the $11,000, which is not much, is going to go toward her lawyers and court fees. This is a real nasty mess. And I'm sorry, I have to say what most people are feeling. How do you have a husband that encourages this sort of thing and you both have children to look after? How do you make good choices for your little ones when you go eyes wide open to something like this? Knowing the consequences, I don't get it at all. I will keep you updated on anything pertaining to this trial when it begins. This is Lomax's Allegedly. I am your host, Lisa, and good night.